Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Jessie, and on this channel, we talk about what it means to choose a life that you actually want and leave the one that you don't want behind. Is it a relationship? Is it a job? Is it the place that you live? For me, it's all of the above as I leave my home and close down my farm and leave my job and move abroad to Spain in a couple of short months in November. I can't believe it's August already. To recover from burnout and rest my weary little soul. So, if any of that interests you, please follow along. Yeah, on this channel, I talk about the visa process, and really, I've been like lately working through a lot of limiting beliefs that hampered me from like using my voice and showing up for myself and yeah, betting on myself and making such a large move. And I'm really excited. And naturally, in all of this preparation and sort of purging and closing of chapters, I'm thinking about to the only time ever in my life that I have solo traveled outside of the country. And that was crazy. That is 9 years ago in 2017, 9.5 years ago in 2017, when I was 22 years old, going on 23. I'm originally from Philly, but I just finished a year living in Northern California, is in Crescent City. It's like 30 minutes or so south of the Oregon border, just like right on the coast, the North Coast, with all those redwoods. Ooh, it was so beautiful. I really enjoyed my time there, and working with two local tribes in food forests. So after I finished my work in my year there, I really was not ready to go back home to Philly. Like it felt like I was living in the middle of the wilderness, like working on this really cool project and like seeing vast landscapes. I have never seen a coastline like the ones that I saw in like Point St. George in Crescent City or just like Gold Beach in Oregon. And I really did not want the epicness to stop. And so I was like, you know what? I don't have a lot of money, but I'm going to try to find a place that I can continue this adventure. So I started looking for like affordable countries to visit long term. And I was just going to go the tourist visa route, like however long I could stay there on the tourist visa. That's what I was choosing. And so I was doing research in South America and Central America, and it came down to like Guatemala or El Salvador or Honduras. And I settled on Guatemala because it was pretty like centrally located. I can still hop over to El Salvador, Honduras if I so pleased. And so as I was wrapping up my time in California, I'm packing all my bags, I'm putting stuff in storage, I'm selling stuff, throwing stuff away, hop on a plane. I think it was from LA I drove all the way down. It was like 9 hours from LA to Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale. Cute, very cute. Fort Lauderdale into Guatemala City. And so in during my journey, like driving south, hopping on the planes, having the layover and everything, like I'm reading all these articles, I'm getting familiar with where the American embassy is. And my friends and family are like also sending me articles, and you can only imagine what these articles were saying. First, it was typically like, don't drink the water. If you do need to drink the water, come to the embassy to get these like water filters or water bottles that they were giving away. Or yeah, like those canisters. I think they have some like clay cleaning mineral something. I don't know, child. Anyway, and also talking about the crime, like areas to avoid and like common like street crimes that happen to be aware of and to like get this type of bag and like yeah, just it was just all scary. Like it was beginning to get real because was planning on this for a couple of months and it was starting to get real. And so then I'm ingesting all of this news at this time. I'm like, I want adventure. Like I really didn't have much of a like when I think back about this time, like I really didn't have much of a plan B or like a exit plan, or I was just really flying by the seat of my heart. And so I get there to Guatemala City. I was not going to be in Guatemala City. I wanted to go to Xela, which is Quetzaltenango. It's the second largest city in Guatemala, which is about 4 hours away. And so I landed in Guatemala City and stayed at this hostel that I just looked up because I was going to tell this story, and it's still there 9 years later. It's called Dos Lunas, and it's near the airport in Guatemala City, and it's run by this couple. I think the man Hank is from, that's crazy. He's from like Scandinavia, someplace. And I think so is Lorena, his wife. But they're there. If you ever go to Guatemala City, they are so nice. Like they have been living there for a very long time and know the area really well, and give tours and like give tips and help and everything. But um, yeah, I got to the airport and they picked me up. They saw that I was coming to their hostel and they came and grabbed me from the airport, which was really nice. So in the car, I think I was in the car with, oh, child, I forget who. It was either one of them. Maybe it was both of them. But they were telling me all these tips. Like it was a continuation of the voices of my friends and my family, right? So like they were like, if you are ever in a taxi, if you're ever on a bus, if you're ever in any sort of transportation, like always be riding with the window up, because if you're at a stoplight and you're on your phone or whatever, or even if you're not on your phone, you have your bag on your lap, like you will get robbed. Like it was not like, yeah, like watch out for this. Like this might happen in this area. This happens. It was like, no, 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 no. If you are in Guatemala City and you are riding with the windows down, I don't care if it's in the middle of summer. You better have those windows up and have some ice water, because you're going to get robbed. Do you understand me? He was like, you are a solo female traveler. Do you know what that means? And I was like, no. So I felt like I had made like the biggest mistake ever. But I was really looking forward to this. I was saving for this. I had like coffee farms on my list that I wanted to stop at. Like I still had a lot to see, and I didn't even get to Xela yet. And I was like, okay. So then I get to the hostel. Beautiful, beautiful space. Really cozy room. I knocked right out in that room. I walked around when I woke up to get some food, and I think it was like a chicken and rice dish with some veggies or something. But the chicken, I knew for a fact that it was not chicken. Like it wasn't. This is my first time out the country, so of course things are going to taste different than America, which, and I know America's food is like trash compared to a lot of other countries. But it was something about like, it was something about the texture, the flavor, the smell of it. I was like, this is not chicken. And it literally it tasted like, it tasted like they gave me something that they be giving people that they don't like, because I went in there with my like broken little Spanish. My mom speaks Spanish. Like she speaks Spanish and she speaks Russian. She loves languages, and so I was trying to like flex a little bit. Like I'm not fluent, but maybe I'm fluent by like 60%. Anyway, so yeah, I feel like they just gave me something because they didn't want to give me the good stuff. And I feel like they gave me something that was old and like rotting. But they put this sauce on it, which made it look and smell good at first. And then when I got back and started eating it, I was like, this is old food. Whatever. I was like, it was just a fluke. I continue. I wake up because I ordered this bus, or a bus ticket. I got a bus ticket from Guatemala City to Xela, and it was going to be like a 4.5 hour drive. And Hank took me to the bus stop, and he was like, don't be alarmed. He was like, don't be alarmed if you see crimes happen on the street, and if somebody is wounded on the street, you're just going to have to step over them. Like, just follow the norms of everybody else. Always go out in groups. Never go out by yourself. Like, he was like being like a father figure, just like really giving me all these tips and telling me to take care of myself and watch my back and like, get some pepper spray and like all this. And I'm like, and their personality really also comes out on their website. I'm going to link it down below, but like you can check out like how they talk about Guatemala, how much they love it. They are crazy about Guatemala, and they're very realistic about like the downsides. Like every place has its downsides, and they're really forthcoming with that, and they be looking out for their people. So if you know of anybody going to Guatemala, seriously, like tell them to consider Dos Lunas for their hostel, or even just like a night, with Hank and Lorena. Just like get a nice priming on like where to go, where did I go, da, 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 whatever. So anyway, he takes me to the bus and telling me all this stuff. I'm trying to like still tell myself my own story, like build my own narrative in my mind, while also tucking everything that he's saying in the back. And so I am on the bus. I have a window seat. It's great. It's spacious. It's comfortable. And everybody, essentially just like goes to sleep on the bus. We drive maybe like 2 hours. We stop. Everybody gets out, stretches their legs. It was in a rural area. I felt scared, that I was like, wow, I'm like in the middle of nowhere by myself. And I'm able to speak broken Spanish. I'm 23. I'm scared. My cell phone doesn't work because there's no Wi-Fi. Like, wow, here I am. But everybody was getting off to get mangoes, like these like spiraled mangoes, like the mango art. So beautiful. I got one, got back on the bus. As I was eating my mango, we were riding by again in this like semi rural area of these shanty houses that just had sexo like on the top of them. And there were like prostitutes standing outside just waiting for their like gentleman callers, And I had never seen anything like that. And then I just started imagining like what their stories were and like what, got them there, what their mindset was, like what their heart was actually saying. And that was, yeah, that I remember thinking about that for years and years and years after, knowing that I'm not sure of like the legal status of it, but it was so out there. Like it wasn't trying to be hid, like how it is here in America. So that was really interesting. I eventually get off to Quetzaltenango in the bus stop. I pull up my maps, walk to my Airbnb. It's like this, I guess it's like a sort of like a shared courtyard, like a huge courtyard with rooms that surrounded the courtyard. It was a shared kitchen, shared showers, but I think everybody had their own bathroom. And it was really beautiful, like in the like sort of city center of Quetzaltenango. And I loved it. There was this cat. I'll try to find a picture of him. His name was Mauricio. Maurice, he was so cute. He would always like poke his little head in my door. And, I was able to connect to Wi Fi, contact my family. The host came out, welcomed me, gave me a tour, gave me like all these materials, her number, like told me if she needs anything, just hit her up. Told me about some Spanish schools. I was gonna go to a Spanish school in Xela, and I'm chilling. So like a couple days goes by, and I'm essentially just like eating and sleeping because I wasn't ready. Yeah, I didn't have enough energy to explore, and I was still trying to like kind of hype myself up and like make sure that I have this awareness that like everybody was telling me to have. And so eventually I do go and explore. I went to El Parque Central. It's like this huge park in the middle of the city center. I walked around to this like cafe and got like a ham and cheese sandwich and like some hot chocolate. It was really good. And then a couple of days later, I needed to get some groceries because I was going to make some food in the shared kitchen. And I'm walking up one of the streets and I have my bag, and this man is walking towards me, face covered in tats. Um, and he was looking at me with this like menacing, really menacing, like, I'm about to get you look. And I was not projecting that on him because that's part of how I hype myself out to get out the house anyway. I was like, I don't want to look at everything like everybody's trying to get me. None of that. Like, you need to go out and recognize that this is somebody's everyday neighborhood. This is an everyday place. Like people be here all the time. Like just because you're here now doesn't mean that it's new for other people. Like just relax, Jasmine. Like I was just trying to talk myself out of it. But he was looking at me like, I'm about to get you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to be robbed. Like right now. Right now. It's only he and I on this street. And my brother, just like a couple days prior, was like, oh, you better watch out because there's like these gang members, like all this bad news, just like that's what was going into my ears, which really formed my lenses. We'll talk about that later. But like, yeah. And so he was sending me pictures of the gang to be like, look out for this, look out for that, look out for that, being a great big brother. You feel me? And I then a couple days later, I see the person with all those symbols, the entire getup, walking towards me on this alley little street. And I'm walking to the store. I have cash, some cash, like in my bag. I have my phone, and um looking at me like he's gonna get me. But he just walks right by me. But he does break his neck to like he kept eye contact with me. My other brother taught me that if somebody is ever following you and you're not sure if they're following you, like look up and look like you're looking at a tree or something because your peripheral vision will allow you to see behind you even though you're not like looking behind you. So I did that and I saw him like breaking his neck and looking at me. I was quoting the 91st Psalm while I was walking down that alleyway, child. I was so scared. I was so scared. I get to the store. I have to go to the ATM, because I couldn't find one. And it wouldn't have been my first choice, but I was silly because I was 23 years old, and I went to the ATM and I got out like wads of quetzales because I was like, I'm not gonna come back to this grocery store for a while because my plan was to be in Xela for like 2 months and then go to, oh gosh, what is that place called? Antigua. Yeah, Antigua. I was gonna go to Antigua for the last month before I go back home to Philly. And so I was like, yeah, I should really just like capitalize on this opportunity to get these quetzales right now. And I get the quetzales and everything actually goes pretty smoothly. Like there are people looking at me and staring at me because I am like much taller than them and my hair is different. But I thought that like, yeah, our skin tone is a little different. I mean, our little like kind of the same. And I also speak Spanish, so I thought that there would be a little bit more like sameness and like I don't know, I was so naive. Sameness and like welcoming vibes, but there was a lot of like pointing and laughing, which didn't bother me as much because it's like, yeah, I do look quite different and I'm getting out wads of quetzales at this ATM. But anyway, I was uncomfortable, but like it went smoothly and I was shopping around. It was the first time I ever saw unrefrigerated eggs because they weren't pasteurized. And it was just like really, yeah, cool experience shopping. And yeah, got my stuff and I went back to my room. Now, this is where it gets crazy because I go to the shared kitchen and I'm putting away some stuff that I got at the store. And this man who I can only describe as being mysterious and dangerous and really intense. Like his eyes were like um man, who was that actor? It's like really vibrant, intense eyes that look like they're looking right through you. That look like they're going to like eat you alive. You know what I'm saying? Look like otherworldly. Like a Siberian tiger almost. Just like really intense, really bright, but like very like piercing. Piercing, that's the word. It was very piercing. And he's talking to me about, the showers and how they're kind of crappy, but like they're still nice after a long day. He's asking me like how long I'm going to be there. He's telling me about like the water filter and like giving me a walkthrough about like how to use it, when to refill it, da da da. Talking to me about the host. And he's all in between all that like conversation trying to figure out if I'm there by myself or if I'm there with somebody. And I wiggled out of all of those questions somehow. I forget what I said, but I was wiggling out of them questions, child. I'm like, I'm not telling you nothing. I should have just like I learned so many more tips about how to evade those questions from men as a solo female traveler that I didn't know at the time. I was trying my best. I was a little baby traveler. And Yeah, but he's just really giving me unsafe vibes. Like I felt so unsafe. Like he just had this vibe that was like, "Yo, you're here because you're running away from somebody or something. Like you're wanted in other countries." I had this feeling so deep in my soul. And I'm happy I had this experience because it really helped me like begin to decipher between my intuition and fear, and like when to follow which one at what times, but like fear be saving lives at the same time, okay? So, but anyway, yeah, like I just had this feeling that like, yo, you're wanted in all these other places and you're in Guatemala because like it's affordable and you're trying to just hide out and lay low in Xela in this courtyard and you're bothering me in this kitchen when I'm trying to just like put stuff away and like mind my business. You know what I mean? So I remember going back to my room after that and looking out the window to see what room he was staying in so I can identify him. I was like, I need to tell somebody about this. Like, I wrote my mom this long thing about the experience, about his vibe, what he looked like. I couldn't place what nationality he was. Like, he was not from Guatemala or Latin America or anything. But I couldn't place like what nationality he was. But I was like, he's in room da da da. Like in case I ever needed to identify him or get or contribute to a report, I could say he was in that room. You feel me? And so some days go by. I go to town. I get a ham sandwich. Vibes. And then a couple days later, I go back in there. Like whenever I had to eat, I would go to town to go out to eat, or I would just like eat shelf stable stuff like fruit or something. But I wanted to make something. It's really therapeutic for me to cook. And so I went into the kitchen and lo and behold, guess who was in there? You're right. Precisely. He was back in there. This time he's going on and on and on about, I will never forget this, German chocolate cake. He was talking about German chocolate cake so sensually. Like it was rated R. It was rated R. And it was like hurting my ears. It made me feel so uncomfortable. And he was doing that on purpose. And I knew that he was doing that on purpose. And he was talking about like how much he wants to make a German chocolate cake. Like he's about to go to the store and get all these ingredients to make the German chocolate cake. And he wants me to like be in there and make it with him. And he wants to like give me the German chocolate cake. And I was like, I'm good. I'm grabbing all my stuff. I'm just taking everything that I have out of the refrigerator and I'm about to go like back to my room. Like, I don't care if it spoils. I'll just go back to the store and get some more stuff. Like, I'll go get a Bunsen burner, some camp gear, and be cooking in my room. I don't care if I get in trouble. Mm-mm. And then he gets between me and the door as I'm trying to leave. And then he looks at me and he asks me, in your room, do you have a double bed or do you have a single bed? Imagine a man who looks scary and mysterious and dangerous. That's the thing. He looked dangerous. Piercing eyes looking at me like alien eyes is what it felt like at the time because they were just like a color I have never seen before. They were like silver. I don't know. Like he had contacts or something, child. Do you have a single bed or a double bed in your room? In this moment, I knew I need to pack my bags and hop up on out of here. And I played like I was so dumb and like I was not scared. Self preservation. I was like, I don't know. Like in America, like they're like kind of like this size. Like, I don't know. Like, I never knew if I had a twin or a full or whatever. Da, 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 da. But what I knew immediately, discerned what he was trying to ask me was, are you here by yourself or are you with somebody? And it felt like if I said a single bed, then that would mean that I'm there by myself and he's about to come in my room and get me. Do you feel me? And so I was like, when are you about to make? I started talking about the German chocolate cake. Self preservation, girls. Okay. I was like, when did you say that you were? When did you say that you were gonna make that German chocolate cake? Oh my god! Like I've never had that in such a long time. Like oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. When are you going to the store? And he said, "Oh, I'll go right now. I'm about to go to the store right now, and I'm gonna go get the ingredients for the German chocolate cake. How does that sound?" I was like, "That sounds great." That sounds so good. Thank you. And then when he left, I walked back slowly to my room, called American Airlines, and said, "Hey, I know that I have a ticket that's like 2 months away, 3 months away, but I need to get it moved up to a couple hours from now. Or no, tomorrow. Tomorrow. I need to move that up to tomorrow. Is that possible?" And the connection was bad. I remember feeling like I was not going to be able to get this done. The connection was so bad. I was breaking up. The call dropped. Thankfully, she called me back and then had to transfer me. The call dropped again. I'm on the phone with American Airlines for like an hour, right? I had to call my mom and text them to ask if she could call on my behalf and get this done and move it up. They had me pay, I think it was only like $20 in order to like have a change or pay the difference or whatever. And my flight was set for tomorrow. So now I have to figure a way to get from Xela back to Guatemala City. There were no buses. The bus for that day had already left. My flight is in the morning, so I need to make a getaway ASAP. Okay. I don't know how I found this man, but I Googled like personal long distance drivers near me, personal long distance drivers in Quetzaltenango, personal long distance drivers in Guatemala. And this man responds. I'm trying to figure out like what website I use, but like this man responds. He's in Antigua, which I'm not sure how many hours away from Xela that was. But I said, I need a ride from Xela to Guatemala City right now, like now, and I'll sleep in the airport. I don't care. No me importa. Okay. And he drove from Antigua to Xela, got me at 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning. So I'm up at like 3, getting all my stuff together. I'm writing the Airbnb host everything that happened and said, like, yo, you have somebody that's extremely sketchy in here and I need to make a getaway. She's a girl's girl. She gives me a refund for like the a month and a half that I was supposed to stay there. She was like, I'm going to be following up with him. I am so sorry you had this. Da, da, da. And I'm making my getaway. I'm packing up all my stuff. I say peace to Maurice, and I go out and I see JB in this SUV. He opens the door. He has a pillow and blanket in there for me. He has water. He has snacks. He's funny. He knows when to be quiet. He took me to Lake Atitlan, which we passed through on the drive back to Guatemala City, and beautiful, so beautiful. Being just so kind and warm. And he takes me there and he takes me out to breakfast as we get back to Guatemala City. I was so happy to get away from Xela because it felt like it did not matter where I was at, he was going to get me. Okay. Like, that's probably not true, but it was very much the right decision to leave because I wish that I can describe with more words just the intensity that he was on me. Like, it didn't seem like it was terribly like sexual. Like, it didn't seem like he like wanted me. Like, maybe that was part of it too, but it seemed like it was just really like conquering, like a dominion type thing, like a control. It seemed like he was like a serial blanker. Okay, like that's what it felt like. It felt like it was like a thrill, and he was like loved playing cat and mouse. What is that movie that was just on? Oh my gosh, this is perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm screaming, but like this is so perfect. There's this movie on Netflix. I forget what it's called right now. Oh my gosh, it's like one word. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna put it right here. If you've seen that movie, that guy is exactly, oh, this is, thank you, Lord. That guy in that movie is exactly the vibe of this man. Thank you. That's my descriptor. Like when she went to go get her backpack, like if you saw that movie, and when she went to go get her shoes or her backpack or whatever, and the chase began, that look that he had in his eyes was that look that he had in his eyes. in Shayla in that Airbnb. I made my grand escape. I got on that plane. I was so happy to get on that plane. I had a layover in Texas and a flight back to Philly. I was so happy to get home. And when I was recounting this story to myself and like processing it, journaling about it, talking to my friends and family about it, like I'm very happy that I listened to my intuition because who knows what could have happened. I do still think though that it's unfortunate that that was my first experience traveling abroad. Like it was not, I did not feel safe. No messaging was coming towards me of like fun and safety and like, precautions and or yeah, like it was always about the precautions. It was always about like watch your back. It was always about crime. It was always about yeah, gang members and like don't drink the waters and the utility lines and just like all this negative information that really clouded, not clouded, but just colored my lenses, which maybe made things like the traditional things that make any place bad. Like I'm from Philly. Crime in Philly is, you know, is crazy. Every place has its downsides, and I feel like all that information made the downsides of the place more amplified. And I think that this man was separate from all of that. And for him to be the cherry on top to my 10 days into my like 3 month journey into Guatemala, I did not even go to Antigua. I was like, y'all can keep it. They ended up refunding me too for that Airbnb, thankfully. But now, 9 years later, I am going out of the country for the second time. That was the last time I went out of the country. Going out of the country for the second time at 32. And that is my only point of reference for like out of country travel. And I know more about what it means to travel as a solo female. I know more about how to regulate my nervous system and talk myself out of fear and delineate if this is fear or if it's my intuition. Like it's not perfect all the time, but I have more of those skills. My brain is fully developed now. But yeah, I'm just going to like, yeah, carry all of these strengths with me so that if I ever find myself in another situation like this, child, I'm calling somebody. I'm not going to nix all my plans because of these sketchy, crazy men. I'm going to report you. Yes, I'm going to be in your face talking about, like, oh my God, yeah, go get that German chocolate cake. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hello. A part of me wants to go back to Guatemala. I want to go back to Shayla. Maybe I want to go back to that same Airbnb if it's still there to just like reclaim what this story is and like reclaim um the exploration that I was gonna have there and like go to take that trip to Antigua, maybe even find JB, like we're still friends on Facebook. And have that story like retold through a different lens, with different eyes and a different mind, and still have all those safety precautions in mind, but really experience Guatemala. I want to go to those coffee farms. I want to do some like weaving in rural areas with like beautiful women. Like I want to experience the volcanoes and I want to go swimming in the lake. Like I want to do all of those things that I know Guatemala offers just so many people, like everybody else's Guatemala stories are so beautiful. And I don't share mine because I'm not trying to color Guatemala any differently for anybody else whose experience was beautiful. You know what I mean? So, anyway, that might be on the horizon. That might be on the imminent horizon because I know that I'm going to be back in America next year for my brother's wedding and my brother's baby. And maybe it'll be a little side quest as like a healing journey and a retelling of Guatemala through my lenses. So, anyway, if you've been to Guatemala, how was your experience? Like, I'm really curious to hear about it. I don't really hear many people going to Xela or Quetzaltenango. It's typically Guatemala City or Antigua or what is it, Huehuetenango, like where that huge market is. Um, but yeah, if you've ever been to Shayla, I really want to hear how your time was. And thanks for listening, everybody. I will see you tomorrow in this daily YouTube posting journey. Bye, guys.